Kirk Cousins is our quarterback. We're very excited about Kirk, very excited about this team. And Michael Penix we're talking about the future. The draft is, you look at the future and you look at big picture, but we are very excited about that quarterback room. And again, Kirk is our quarterback, but adding Michael Penix is thinking about the future.
When you get Kirk Cousins and you talk about short-term winning, you talk about winning right now, which we know we're going to be in position to do, which we want to be in position to do, we won't have the ability to be picking this high again with the guy that we got. And these guys go off the board pretty quickly, and we thought it would be important for us to address our future quarterback right now while we're picking this low in these moments and to be able to move forward. You know, fortunately enough with us, we got a Kirk Cousins in the building. We got a guy that can go out there and win football games, and we should be picking high enough. We talked about winning the South. We talked about doing some of these things. That includes going to the playoffs. You just seen 6 quarterbacks go off the board before the 12th pick of the draft. And we don't want to be picking on it anymore. And Terry's done a nice job of getting us some really good players, some quality players, but we don't want to be back in that position. So let's move forward, think about the future, address that right now.
That makes so much sense. That makes
No, it
so
doesn't.
much sense. No, it does. Wait, hold on. All right, wait, it does. Wait a minute. Let me say this, Michael. Let me say this.
Okay.
If I were doing a scouting report on Michael Smith,
Okay.
I'm not always right. I'm right most of the time, but I'm not always right.
No,
but
you're
I'm
not.
always
Go ahead.
fair. I've always set out to be fair. And sometimes, honestly, quick sidebar, but related. Sometimes I think I'm too fair for my own good. I'm too measured, too balanced, too reasonable, too sensible sometimes for my own good. Because that doesn't talk about me. I'm saying like that because that doesn't get you clicks and likes and shit, you know, in 2024, right? You know, but it's never been my style. And I think a lot of that has to do with my reporting background, your reporting background, the information that we're privy to. Sometimes, you know, the stuff we know gets in the way of what we think or feel, right? Because we have so much information and so much access to these people, right? And it's like, and to say nothing of the relationships. And so, you know, we know so much until it's like, we oftentimes give these teams the benefit of the doubt. I'm literally talking to somebody who's been in draft rooms and written books about the process and understands, you know, what goes on in these rooms and how these teams think. If anybody knows how teams think, it's you, right? And so I think I've been guilty over the years, especially not just in sports talk in general, but especially with the draft. Maybe I've been a little too understanding, you know, and too not forgiving. Forgiving is not the right word, but just, you know, just almost like pro-team or what have you.
Yeah. Thoughtful. You're thoughtful about it.
Having said all that,
yeah.
What in the entire are the Falcons doing? You know I like Ra. You know I like Raheem Morris a lot. You know I like Terry Fontenot a lot. But what the are the Falcons doing? Like, no, that didn't make any sense. I mean,
none.
You could have thought about the future without investing $100 million guaranteed in Kirk Cousins. You didn't have to do that. You could have, even if this does work out, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you on this point. Even if it does work out, even if Michael Penix is the next Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers before him, even if this plan, this succession plan, leads to success, it still doesn't make any sense. It was still the wrong decision. I don't care if Michael Penix delivers them the Super Bowl that has eluded the Atlanta Falcons for their entire franchise history.
Well,
the way they went about it, the way they went about getting him after guaranteeing Kirk Cousins $100 million, it doesn't make any sense. Like, if you have concerns about Kirk Cousins' longevity or injury history, why'd you sign him? Like, it just, I'm sorry. I want to like so this. I want to understand it. I don't. I'm busting my headphones.
You know, there's so much. There's so much here. Before we even talk about the pick, let's talk about the building. Now, we were all hyped up. Remember, you were hyped up. You wanted to run through a wall. You wanted to run through a wall.
I did.
Raheem
I
Morris.
did.
That's
my guy.
That's the vision. That's the plan. Okay? That's the plan. Yeah, right. Here we go. Hey, here's our coaches. Hey, young Keese, right here. Here it is. Here's the plan. Here's the vision. He's hyped up. Okay, we're going to win the South. This is what we're going to do.
I'll run the South, right? Wasn't that the line?
Mental health is real. This is all like all this stuff. He's like,
y'all getting jobs. Everybody in there have a job.
I got relationships. I got relationship with Kirk Cousins, Bijan Robinson. They're Grady. They're the boy. He got commercials. Mama got commercials. He's all happy like, yeah.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what's messed up about it. Let's start with the building. You're saying Kirk Cousins is the guy in the relationships, and according to reports, Kirk Cousins found out, his representative actually found out when they were on the clock. When they're on the clock about to draft Michael Penix, hey, you know what, let's call Kirk. Well, no, let's not call him. Let's call the agent. Hey, you know, look, we love Kirk and everything, but right here at number 8, we're thinking about Michael Penix. But Kirk is our quarterback. We love him, and I love it. The headline, one of the headlines is like, Cousins is confused. He should be. Cousins, you're confused, and so are we. So the way they handled it, before we even get to the draft pick, the way they handled it was foul, and doesn't really match up with what Raheem Morris told that group and told us, by extension, how business would be done in Atlanta going forward. But on top of that, Mike, they were 7-10 last year. They're one of the worst defenses in football.
They had
all their
pass
defensive
rush.
stats.
Oh my God.
All their defensive stats are trash. Okay,
they need to be getting to the quarterback instead of worry about getting a backup quarterback or a future quarterback.
Okay, 2023 defensive stats are trash. You signed Kirk Cousins. You've got Raheem Morris, who has won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. So a defensive-minded head coach. You've got your pick. You've got your pick of any defensive player you want. Pick a position. Reach for a corner if you want to. You got the first defender off the board. You could have him.
Yeah.
Except you didn't do that. You took Michael Penix Jr., a developmental quarterback who's 99 years old, by the way. So
who's got an injury history himself. And I know check my EKG. I get it. I like the kid a lot. Kid's a baller. I like him. But look, man, like for me, the thing is, it's like if Kirk Cousins had been in Atlanta for 10 years and we're coming off an Achilles at age 36, and they decided to draft his heir apparent. We've seen that movie before. Like I mentioned, Green Bay did it twice, and it worked out both times.
But never in the top 10. Never.
But never in the top 10. And
never in the top 10.
What Raheem Morris said actually does make a lot of sense in terms of, like, we want to solidify this position, and we don't anticipate picking up here again. Okay. I'll also say, and this is why I tend to give these teams the benefit of the doubt, because, Michael, as you know, they've spent infinitely more time thinking about this from every angle, studying this, examining this. They're privy to a lot more information and insight than we are. One of the reasons I don't love draft grades is you just give this knee-jerk instant analysis to something that we just learned last night. When one of the reasons they probably didn't tell Kirk Cousins or his agent sooner is because they knew that shit would have got out. If they'd have told Kirk Cousins or his agent or anybody else their plans to draft Michael Penix at 8, which, let me say two things at the same time.
Quarterback.
Quarterback at 8. Not that anybody was going up to get Michael Penix. You know what I mean?
You don't have to say at 8. You don't even have to say at 8. You can say
it'd have gotten out.
We're considering quarterbacks. Just want to let you know.
But even the one they wanted, if they wanted Penix at 8, I don't believe there was any danger of somebody going into the top 7 to get Michael Penix in particular. But regardless, they have game planned and strategized and been in meetings and lost sleep over this, I'm sure, and thought about this from every angle. We're just like, coming in off the top rope being like, okay, this is a stupid decision. So that's the part of me that's like, okay, I get the long-term outlook. From an emotional standpoint, and this is why I'm on team Kirk Cousins here, who continues to laugh all the way to the bank. Like, no matter how bad you feel for him, my man's okay.
Tony, $100 million guaranteed.
And he's going to start. This is not how you start the relationship. For crying out loud, they just did the press conference. And now he's on a 2-year clock? They just introduced him.
Exactly.
It's like, so why bring this into the relationship at the very beginning of what you hope to be a 2 to 3 year window? Let what's understood not be spoken. Like, he's 36. We all know how old he is. So yes, you need a long-term solution at quarterback. But to address that with your first pick of the Kirk Cousins era, it just throws a whole bunch of, it just pisses on the hypothetical championship parade that they were throwing in downtown Atlanta.
I'm going to tell you another problem I have with it. You know, Raheem said these guys go off the board fast. You know, we saw it last night. The new math in the NFL, 6 out of 12. It's like a great shooter. It's like Steph Curry's shooting percentage from 3. 6 out of 12. You know, boom, quarterback, right there. They come off the board fast, says Raheem Morris. You know who also leaves the board fast? Head coaches. Head coaches every year. There are like 7 or 8 of them who are out of jobs, and nobody has a 5-year plan anymore. 4-year plan, maybe.
Were they drafting Penix for the next guy?
Hey, look, right. I'm not thinking about the future right now. I know we're working, the collaborative thing. That's why a lot of it is just, 90% BS, but it entertains me. Like when they have a guy like Terry Fontenot who is thinking about the long-term future of the franchise. He's a GM, and then you have the head coach. All the head coach speaks the language of right now. The future is tomorrow. Maybe. I can't even give you May. It's tomorrow for a head coach. You got to win. And so, look, you know how it is. You think about Brian Daboll as a perfect example. Brian Daboll came into a bad situation in New York. They made the playoffs in year 1. They shouldn't have. It was not a great team, but he made the playoffs. Look like they're better than they actually were. Year 2, he's on the hot seat. I'm on the hot seat? What do you mean I'm on the hot seat? I can't. I thought we had an understanding. This is a rebuilding situation. Well, you won last year, so maybe it's not as bad as you thought. Like owners and general managers will flip the script on you over the course of 18 months. So I don't understand what Raheem Morris, hey man, you ain't that comfortable unless you got a part of ownership in your contract. Right. Don't get so comfortable when you're thinking about the future. We don't want to do this again. If you don't want to do this again, you get the best team on the field right now. Go ahead and win the South and see what happens. I just think it's the worst thing in Falcons history is 28-3, but this is in the top 5.
That's a loaded top 5. Somebody who grew up watching the NFC West with the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons going at it. I'm gonna tell you, that's a crowded top 5 right there.
They forgot to check a box and let Deion Sanders become a free agent. That's probably number 2.
Dude, it's a long list is what I'm getting at. I didn't watch
Mike
Belichick.
Vick.
I didn't watch Belichick. But whether on camera or off camera, he's somewhere laughing his ass off right now. I mean, because it's baffling. It really is baffling because, okay, like, why would you pay $100 million guaranteed for a quarterback controversy, for an inevitable quarterback controversy? Because, like, you're bringing this dude and this young guy in the building.
You can get that for free, right? Why are you paying for that?
It's like, get a cheap bridge quarterback, go get Gardner Minshew, and then draft Michael Penix, like the Raiders theoretically were going to do at 13. It's like why would you invest so much in something that you're already deciding is short term? Like, you're already looking beyond the guy you just brought in the building.
He hadn't even started.
Like, he hasn't even started playing yet, and it's just like I'm trying real hard, Ringo. I'm trying to be the shepherd here. I'm trying to be like, you know what? I get it. But every time I say I get it, I'm like, nah, no. This was not the move. Michael Penix, if Kirk Cousins plays well, Michael Penix will be 26, 27, maybe even 28 years old at the end of this contract. I know they can get out of it after a couple of years. By the time he takes over, like, when is he going to play? Like, you looked at they looked at Green Bay. I think what they're skipping over with the Green Bay Jordan Love part of it is the part where like that shit was uncomfortable and difficult and stressful for a while. And Green Bay lucked out because Love turned out to be good. But it wasn't a sure thing. You understand what I'm saying? But that dude sat for what, 3-4 years? I mean, like, that's just not.
Same
you're
with
right.
Rodgers. Same with Rodgers.
That's not the way this works. That's not the way that way. You don't get that time to see this thing through. Hendon Hooker went last year in the 3rd round. And he's an older guy. I think he was 20, might have been 26 when he came out of Tennessee. Might have been 26. He went in the 3rd round. Okay, I could see that. So if you want to take a quarterback, if you're Atlanta, take a Spencer Rattler or somebody like that in the later rounds, or somebody like to come in and really be ready in about 2 years or so, that's fine. The 8th overall pick on a backup quarterback,
or take McCarthy,
who shouldn't see the field. If all goes well, he won't see the field in 2 to 3 years. So now Kirk Cousins walking into a situation where he like, well, I mean, I know I'm a short termer. I'm a temp. I'm a temporary employee. That's just not the way you start or lay a foundation for a relationship. There's already a foundation of distrust and listen, Kirk Cousins is the most hired gun quarterback in recent memory that we've seen. Okay, like hardcore businessman. We know that about Kirk Cousins, but still, like this just already starts things off on a funky. Like this puts the dirty in dirty birds. Honestly, this just feels dirty. And I like Michael Penix a lot. I like him a lot. Just not for this situation. Yes, I don't know if I liked him in the top 10 necessarily, but 13, 8, whatever. You talked about it. It's a new day. Quarterbacks going 6 out of 12. Bo Nix is probably not a first round caliber talent, but he went number 12 overall. That's just where we are.
He is to me.
I feel bad for Michael Penix. I feel bad for Michael Penix because it's like
only you got that.
He could have played
that joke.
I would have liked Michael Penix to play sooner rather than later, not go into a situation where he's got to sit for 2 years at least. Doesn't make sense.
I mean, if you want to develop a dude, go JJ McCarthy, and then you got somebody who's a little bit younger. So it still doesn't make sense. But if you want to do that, you want to have a developmental prospect, give him a couple years to learn. Go with the guy who'll be 23 when he starts playing, not the guy who's going to be.
I'm serious
26,
though.
27.
I'm serious. If Penix works out, if Penix is the next Love or Rodgers or whatever, and this plan works out, I will not take this back. I will not say I was wrong because they could have still gotten Michael Penix without investing this much in Kirk Cousins. Maybe in the meantime, Kirk Cousins takes him to the playoffs. Maybe Michael Penix benefits from sitting and watching Kirk Cousins, I guess. But still, this was just a bad allocation of resources in my mind. But again, Terry Fontenot, his staff, Raheem Morris, they spent countless hours examining
I'll tell you who's happy about it, though.
They also have other rounds, which I like to say the draft is not one round. So we'll see.
That's
what they
right.
do.
That's fair. Yep.
Who's happy?
I'll tell you who's happy about it.
Who?
Defensive players. Defensive players on the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, good. Keep it coming, baby. Keep it coming because
they love drafting offense.
Yeah, and before that, before the draft, if you're a part of that unit from last year, a lot of those guys need competition from elite competition, and they're not going to get it in round one. But as you pointed out, and as I'm telling myself too, I got to tell myself this every year, it is a long draft, and there's a lot of work to be done. We just got the tip of it. We got 32 picks, a lot more picks coming here, more than 200 picks coming.
I thought they were going to go Rome Odunze at 8. Once he got to him, even though they've invested a lot of money in wide receiver, but I thought they were just going to say, you know what, we got a most fantasy football friendly offense in history with Drake London on one side and a guy being compared to Drake London and Rome Odunze on the other side, and Darnell Mooney and Rondell Moore and Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kirk. That's what I thought they were going to do. I had no idea they were going to take a guy that's not even supposed to see the field this year.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.